Hey guys, so today, as you can tell, it's all snow and everything outside, so we're going to be installing the big bore kit today. And sit right here. But you can see they give you 5 rings, and the top ring, second ring, upper steel rail expander, which is this, I guess this is an O-ring, and then your lower steel needs to be done between 30 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit apparently. Okay, and if you look here, this is how they go. You want them to be clocked so that way they don't all line up, so it doesn't look too difficult. So your first ring, your A, is going to go here, and then your second ring B is going to go there, so they're like 180 out, and then your E and D rings are going to go 180 out. So it's going to get pretty creative here. So I want to start putting this together, and what you want to do is you want to start with your bottom ring first, which would be your lower steel, which would be these little guys. Okay, see they're greasy, and you just slip it over top of this ring and slide it all the way down to the bottom groove. And I'm gonna need 2 hands to do this, so give me just 1 minute. Okay, so I've slid it on, and this is the intake, this is the exhaust. Look in the picture here, exhaust, intake. So I've got it lined up over here about where it needs to go, and then of course when I go ahead and slide it in the cylinder here, I'm going to need to make sure that they're all stay in place. So next would be this little waffle ring here. Okay, and I'm going to slide it down, and it's going to set right above that ring. Okay, I'm sorry, let me put my finger on it. This ring right here, it's going to set above it. So give me a few more minutes and I'll be right back with you. Okay boys, now I got the 3 rings on here. See how they go? Waffle ring in the middle, or whatever you want to call it. I know it's kind of hard to focus here, but let me see if I can get the camera to focus on it. There you go. You can see it. There's a ring there. Waffle ring comes together up here, and then on this side, you see it right there. So it's getting there. And then now you got 2 rings here, and one looks possibly like chrome, and then one's like black graphite one. So normally rings will tell you a 1 or a 2 at the top, and this one just says R, and this one says R. So I want to say that this one goes on top because it's got the chrome, it's the hard ring, and then this one's the second one. But I'm going to double check to make sure, and I'll be right back. Alright, hey guys, so since there was no instructions with the bore, I'm going to put the chrome one on top. I feel like that's the best one. And I'm going to put this black, maybe graphite or whatever it is, underneath it, because I feel like this chrome plated one will seal more. And do it with the R facing up. Okay, not the R facing down, the R facing up. Okay, so I got my piston exactly like theirs, and let's go over here to the B ring, which is the second ring. See, these say steel and expander, and then it just kind of stops there, but this is directly from the book. And your B ring needs to be facing toward your intake, so a complete 180 out. So it's going to go, let me turn this thing around, here we go. It's going to go like this on the second one. So give me a few more minutes and I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, here it is. 3 ringed right here. Okay, so that's it. A ring, D ring line up over the exhaust port, sorry, and this one lines up here. And be careful because these rings can put a little nick in there. I guess it doesn't matter because it's going to ride on the rings anyway, but just be careful because these rings are sharp. I got it together. Now I'm going to lube the cylinder up. I don't want it to install it dry. Pause. And I'm going to strip down the bike, take off the head, the exhaust, and start installing the Alright guys, so what I'm doing here is I'm lubing down the cylinder, getting it ready to slide the piston in about halfway. Remember, the top has the cam chain tensioner, so that's kind of how I just stick my finger in here. I'm using regular Honda GN4 motor oil. Why not? It's good stuff. I know it's not a Honda. So I'm just lubing it down, making sure I coat everything up nice, because this is going to be your only assembly lubrication that you're going to have, and you don't want a dry startup for sure. Okay, so like I said, just coat it down. You're not going to hurt it. It's going to burn it off anyway, or as much as it can. But you can see, hope you can see, got it lubed up pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piston, make sure my intake side is pointing up toward the cam chain tensioner, because that's the top, and I'm going to slide the piston down so that way I can get the piston rings in here, and I'm going to leave it hanging out so I can put a circle clip in it and get it ready like that. So give me just 1 minute. Okay guys, so I've got it slid down, as you can tell. You see, all the rings have cleared, it's in place. You flip it over, you'll see all that oil. Look, intake facing the top, just like it's supposed to, okay? Now, I can slide it out a little bit. It's kind of difficult. It needs a little more in these two hands, but anyway, I'll slide it up a little bit, and I'll put a circle clip in this side or the other side, whichever side I want, so that way when I slide the pin in, I'll already have one clip in. Does that make sense? Makes it super easy. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then I'll be right back with you. I want to show you this, okay? Here's my circle clip. I know it's hard to see, it's kind of out of focus. Look, what you'll do is you'll slide one side in and you'll twist it, okay? And you'll twist it until it snaps in, okay? Now you see how this has a divot here? You do not want this lined up with that, okay? So, take it and turn it so that way it's not lined up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it over here about 9 o'clock, I guess you could say, okay? So that way, sorry, it's hard to focus. That way there's no chance of it popping out. Now you have one side in, so you're good. The other side you're gonna put in after you put the piston pin in, and you also need to lube that with oil as well, okay? So what we need to do now is we need to start disassembling the bike, take off the belly pan, take off the exhaust, drain the oil, and then take it from there, okay? Okay, so here's where we are. I got everything, got the exhaust off, got the oil draining. We're getting pretty close to start the disassembly process. I went ahead and got the wide band off. We're gonna have to take this line off here. There's gonna be a bolt underneath it here, okay? These 4 bolts. I'm gonna have to loosen up the 8 millimeters holding this on here. And let's go around the other side and see what else we got to take loose. I'm going to take the front fender off so that way I'll have more room. It doesn't look like much room here, as you can tell. Cam chain sensor. Gonna have to mess with that a little bit. Bend that up, give me more room. All right. This little bolt here, okay. And that should be it, but first I got to get it in time. In order to get it in time, you need to take this mark out here for the flywheel, or magneto, I'm sorry, and then these 4 bolts here so you can see the timing mark on the head. And I'm also going to use a chopstick to put down in the spark plug hole to make sure that I am top dead center and not bottom dead center. But give me a few minutes here. I'm going to let this oil finish draining and I'll be right back. As I got the oil drain, spark plug out, and I'm just kind of moving stuff out of the way. That way I can see what we need to do here. So on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this bolt out down here, this one here, okay, and this one here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this 8mm out here, and then I'm going to take this tappet cover off as well. And I think that's it on this side. As far as I can tell, this looks like this is it. So give me a few minutes. Okay, this side is done. I got the bolt out here, I've got the oil line off, and that looks good. And I'm not going to loosen any of these until I go top dead center. So right now I'm just taking all the accessory stuff loose, and then we'll put it top dead center. Okay guys, so there's not much room in here. This is some type of crank or cam. I don't know what that is. I think it's some kind of oil pressure. No, it's not oil pressure. I want to say that's some type of sensor, either for the timing sensor or something. But anyway, there's an 8mm behind there, and there's this. I'm gonna go ahead and take them loose. And this is kind of, this little plastic shield is really in the way, and there's no way to get it off without pulling the intake off. So I'm gonna work with it here, but I'm gonna go ahead and take these two loose, and then I'll be right back with you. And guys, unplug this one because the whole unit spins. See how it's doing? Just go ahead and unplug it. Don't risk it. Getting a wire or something bent up. That's it, it's out. Give me one moment here. Okay guys, I got everything as loose as I can get it, okay? Now we're going to take this off and pull this off and rotate the motor counterclockwise, so this way, until I see the T mark line up. So give me a few minutes here and I'll show you. All right boys, I know it's hard to tell, but there's a T mark in there and there's a notch above it. I got it lined up and I want to check it to make sure I'm top dead center. So I pulled my plug out and I'm going to insert my chopstick, and look, it's hitting the top of that piston. It's all the way at the top. There's literally no more room for it to go in there. So what we need to do now is pull off this timing cover and make sure the timing marks line up there, and we are top dead center. Now we can do the tear down. Okay, I want to show you this. If you look, you'll see a notch there. That notch lines up with the notch in here. Okay, there's a notch back there. I know it's hard to see, but this little notch and this notch are lined up. That means that we are officially top dead center on the compression stroke. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up, see if I can make some room to get this out of the way. Okay, and once I get this out of the way, then I can get the tensioner loose, and there's a special way that comes out as well, and I'll show you. Okay, so now we have enough room to get to everything here. All right, so I got that out of the way. The next thing is this. So my understanding is you take the top nut off and you have to turn it to slack the tension so that this will come off, okay? And this is all coming from the service manual. So give me 1 minute here and I'll be back. I'm gonna try to film this. I got my flathead in there and I got it turned to the right, okay? And that's it. You got your bolts loose. Once you turn it clockwise, it'll come right out. Okay, here's what it looks like. There's a little bitty flathead in there and you turn it to the right, okay? And it has a little directions on it. It went in there like this. Okay, the pink toward the front. You turn it to the right and it lifts this up. It lifts that up to take tension off the chain. Okay, so just remember that when you put it back in, there's an arrow on the front. I know it's hard to see. Trying to get the zoom. There we go. There's an arrow on the front. It goes in there like this. So I'm going to set it in the other head how it goes just so I remember. Okay. So like you flip it up. Since my cylinder head's facing down, it's going to go that way. Okay. And I'm just going to set it down over here because if I put it in the head, it's going to mess with the chain and everything when I try to get it back together. But I'm going to set it down like this, so when I pick it up, it'll be in the right position. Now, I really need to mark this just so I can see it. So I'm gonna wipe it off and I'm gonna hit it with a Sharpie so I'll know on the chain where the top dead center mark is. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so what I did is I marked this rivet with a black Sharpie so I'll know, hey, that's where it lines up at. Now I gotta break it loose. And I know, oh man, I know it's gonna turn the motor. So just remember when you get it out of alignment, you're gonna have to turn it back over until you get it, okay? So don't be afraid. There we go. Top dead center again. So give me 1 minute here, I'm gonna break these loose. Okay guys, I got this one broken loose. Now this back one, I'm gonna have to turn the motor until I can get to it. Ooh, I hate changing stuff once it's top dead center, but I don't have the right tool and I don't want to try it like that. I'm afraid it'll strip it, so I'm just gonna turn it up here until it's top dead center and then set it back. Okay boys, we got it done. We got it loose. Timing mark is a little too much. Oh man. Sorry, I'm playing with it here, trying to get it back in time. It wants to rotate all the way over, so anyway, get it back in time before you pull the cam sprocket off, and hopefully it will not turn anymore, okay? And it wants to go on past it, so give me a minute here. I'll get this out and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this sprocket out. Got 4 bolts on the outside here, 2 in here, okay? 1 here holding a bracket on, and I believe that's it. That is the end of everything there. So now what we want to do is just slide this off, okay? See how it goes? Slide that off out of the way and we should be good to go. So give me a few moments here. I'm going to go ahead and pop this out so I have room to work on stuff, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, taking these 2 loose here. They're pretty tight. Just be careful with them. They're 10 millimeter, so makes it easy, but I'm just making sure I get these loose. Try not to turn your cam, whatever you do. If you turn it, you'll get it out of timing. So I'm just working on it here. I'm gonna get these bolts all the way loose where they'll slide out. And then I'm gonna take these 4 out and then this bracket and I'll have it apart. Okay guys, I want you to pay attention here. You see this one? It has a special copper washer, okay? The rest of them do not. I recommend if you pull it off, place it down, or place it back exactly where it went, okay? And see how there's nothing there? So I'm gonna make me an area here and I'm gonna put them in the order that they come off, okay? And this is important that you do this, because if not, your head will not go on perfectly flat, and you'll have a head gasket leak or a cylinder leak, or you'll get bad compression, or something of that nature will not be good. So now I got them laying down the exact order that they came off of the head. So this is going to be, we're going to pull this thing off, and it's kind of on there. So I may have to tap it with a little rubber hammer just to break it loose, but I'm going to need both hands, so give me 1 minute here. Okay, I got it loose. Head gasket came with it. Your chain's going to go through there, which is perfectly fine. Just be very, very careful. Sorry. And your dowel pins are going to come with it too. Stuck on the, okay, here we go. The head is off. I'm going to set it back here out of the way. All right. Remember, we're going to put a new gasket on it. Okay, the head's out of the way. Now, if you look here, you got this chain. You got this little piece here that'll come out. Okay. Slide that out. Remember how it went. Set it down how it goes. Okay. And then now we're going to slide the head out. And if you look, it says exhaust and intake, and that looks pretty damn flat. So I would imagine we're still top dead center, but we're going to check everything when we get it back together. Pay attention to your dowel pins. Here's one here, and there's one that came out in the head on the other one. So we're going to make sure we put that in place. Let me go ahead and get this bore off, and I'm going to pull the circle clip out and get the piston off as well. Okay guys, I got the cylinder off. Here's the base gasket. It looks like it's going to come up nice. I went ahead and pulled it loose over here, and it's starting to come up. So that's the hardest part there. Now we're going to have to take a circle clip out of here, but you can tell, I mean, look how clean this engine was burning. A little bit of carbon buildup, but I mean very, very clean there. The rod's not discolored, so it hasn't been extremely hot or anything like that. But I will get more pictures as well. Look how, I mean, you know, 1,075 miles isn't much, but what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna get a little pair of needle nose, and I'm gonna take that right out there. So give me just a few more minutes here. Okay guys, here it is. See the rod? Not discolored. That means it's not running crazy hot from the factory like the Grom is. I got this off. I just took it out one side. You can see the piston circle clip in this. I took it out this side, and this isn't discolored from being overheated either. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put all this in a box. That way, if anything ever happens and I need to go back to stock, I got all my parts right there. Okay, real easy to do. Now I'm going to finish getting this gasket off here. I'm just going to take my time and try to get it all to come off together without breaking and ripping, which it probably will, but if it does, it's okay. I'm going to get all this gasket off. I'm going to clean up the base here for the new gasket with a razor blade, just real easy like. Remember, do not move your rod or you'll throw your timing off. I just double checked everything. My timing's set perfect here as well. So let me go ahead and get this gasket off, get it cleaned up, and I'll be right back. Now I've got all the gasket, and the rod bumped over a little out of top dead center, so I got it back now. Now you can actually see the top dead center better. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my base gasket on, and I got all this as good as I can get it. There we go. So all that's good. It's good and dry. Make sure it's not saturated in oil, okay? And I'm gonna use a copper spray on my base gasket, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what I use. Works perfect, all right? Now you got your gasket, and normally I just spray one side, the side that goes to the head, so that way, if I ever need, I mean not the head, the cylinder, if I ever need to remove the cylinder, it'll come right off. And you just lightly coat it. I'll move you up here. That's it. Lightly coat it just like that. And you let it dry for a few minutes until it gets real tacky. And then you throw it on there. Now if you coat the other side, it will stick to the block here. And it'll be a nightmare to clean up. So I only coat one side, which you can coat both sides if you want to. It just seems to be easier to do it this way. So what I'm gonna do next is, once this gets tacky, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the bottom of the cylinder. And then I'm gonna slide the cylinder on, line up, make sure this fits through there, make sure the chain fits through there. Line this up so I can put the new piston pin and the last circle clip in. And be very careful, because if your circle clip falls down in this engine, that's not going to be fun, okay? That will mess everything up. So, give me 1 minute here. I'll be back with you as soon as I have that base gasket on the cylinder. Okay, there it is, got it on there. So, now we just slide it on, okay? Slide it on and line everything up. Sorry, make sure you have 2 dowel pins in this from your old cylinder, okay? I just remembered, they go on the timing side, makes it easy. All right guys, what I like to do is just put a little oil on this. Make sure that it's not dry. You know, everybody has their own technique, but definitely make sure you have some oil on it, okay? And then we're gonna slide it in. We're gonna line everything up, and we're gonna slide it in this side here, so give me 1 minute. Okay, note to self, put this piston pin in and then install from the other side, okay? Don't make that mistake. Now I'm gonna put the circle clip in it, and this should be good. Okay guys, piston pin is in place. Turned it to I turned this one to 3 o'clock. So now we're good to stuff the cam in there. I mean, not the cam, the chain. And slide it on down. So we're getting there. Big difference here. See, I have the intake up top. Make sure you do that. Got my dowel pins in. There's one more that goes over there off the head. I'm gonna spray the head gasket both sides as well to make sure it seals. But we're coming along quite nicely. Also want to show you that they used red Loctite on these 2 bolts on the side. So I'm going to use Loctite on them. And it looks like they used just a little bit of Loctite on the nuts there. So my gasket's almost ready. I went ahead and cleaned that up, wiped it down real good. So we're getting there. So let me get this gasket. I'm going to go ahead and put the gasket on here. I went ahead and slid the piece back in. I know it fits in the head, so I'm just kind of slid it in there. Still top dead center. Keep checking that as you go. But give me 1 minute, I'll have the gasket on here, and then I'll start sliding the head on. Okay, I got my gasket on there. It's real tacky. Now, like I said, with this copper gasket, as soon as you start it up and it gets hot, it seals immediately. There's no waiting time. So let me go ahead and slide the head back on here, and we'll start assembling it. Okay guys, I've got the head back on. I just finger tighted them. I got to torque them. Everything, so I got the light on so you can see it better now. But if you look here, timing mark, and the cam has a little mark there as well. So it looks to me like everything's in time, and back over here. See it? The notch lined up. So I think we're good to go. It took a little while, but I took my time, you know, no rush. The next thing I'm gonna do is just go ahead and tighten down this one. And I'm gonna put the cam chain tensioner back in. And then I'm gonna turn the motor over to tighten down the back side. And then turn it over by hand after I torque all these down. I still got these 4 bolts and these 2 to torque down that I haven't done yet, but I'll